Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show podcast. Today is May 5th, 2021. Looking forward to having a great show. Our special guest on the show is Kyle Lang, the omnipresent Kyle Lang from ReMax, realtor extraordinaire. He's going to share a wealth of knowledge like he always does. He is an ever popular guest on our radio show on 97.1 FM, heard and seen every Saturday morning from 9 to 10, and on our podcast, hopefully heard and seen every Wednesday from 11 to about 11:30. Our panel today is Lisa Lawson and John Kolb. How are you guys?
Wonderful. How's everybody?
Good. Lisa Lawson, John Kolb, of course, from Capital Mortgage Funding. The podcast is powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, Equal Housing Lender. And our NMLS number is, John Kolb?
2289.
2289, Equal Housing Lender. Kyle Lang. We've got a crazy topic that we're going to spend so much time on because we have to share the knowledge that we're gaining from this market. It's to quote a phrase, it's irrationally exuberant right now, what the purchase prices are going for. And then Lisa and John, we're going to share our personal experiences, what we do on our end on how to educate people on what's going on in the market when they make an offer. And then we have to go get an appraisal on a purchase price, $30,000, $40,000 over the listed price of the property. But everybody, good morning. We're going to talk about it right now. And right now, the topic of the day, property appraised values have not caught up to the exuberant sales prices. So for example, Kyle Lang, you've got a listing and well, you bring it from either aspect. Your listing house at 200,000 or you bring a buyer in at 200,000. And now how many bids, how many offers, and let's take it from there.
I've had two this week. One worked out for my folks. The other one did not. The first one we did, what were we at? I think we were about 17 grand over list price, $150,000 house, 17K over list. That one we only had to do a $5,000 appraisal guarantee on. And we locked that one down. The one that I was shocked that did not get accepted, they were 230. We offered 250. We guaranteed the appraisal by 15K, waived the private inspection. I cut my commission in half to 1.5%, and I still didn't get it accepted.
Do you hear this, everybody out there? Do you hear what's going on in the market? Now, it's going to continue. It's going to continue because there's a couple things going on right now. It's going to continue because of the lack of quality inventory on the market and supply and demand. The supply side, not so much. The demand side, a lot more buyers out there. And Kyle Lang, from what I'm hearing and what you're just telling me on those two examples, you're going anywhere from $10,000 to $30,000 over list. Some are getting accepted, some aren't. You're having to cut commissions to put deals together. It is irrationally exuberant out there, Kyle Lang.
It's no fun for anybody, even the listing agents. I'm shifting over. I'm primarily doing listings now. And even for us as listing agents, it's not fun for us either. Because the thing is like, oh, you got 20 offers. Yeah, you get 20 offers, but realistically, you're only considering 3 or 4 of them. You know what I'm saying? And like, you feel terrible for the people that are writing 5K over and they're just getting thrown to the bottom of the deck, because not competing.
Yeah. Hey, Lisa Lawson, listening to Kyle Lang. So there are 20 offers on a house. One is going to get accepted. One family is going to be able to move into that house. That means 19 families are going to be extremely disappointed. Give us some of your personal experiences right now when you're working with all these buyers. I know you have a lot of pre-approvals out there. They're going through this really tough time. Everybody wants to buy a house. They find one, but there are all these multiple offers and they don't get it. But for the lucky ones that are, how are you preparing them for what they're going to have to pay and what they're going to have to go through maybe on the appraisal side?
Yeah, the reality is the majority of mine that are getting accepted do have some form of appraisal guarantee. Now, they're not 15,000 over, but, obviously it depends on the area. And, we have to obviously make sure up front that if the appraisal comes in, within the parameters of that guarantee, that they're going to be bringing those extra funds to close. And, we do myself do a couple cost estimates. I'm like, here's where our our dream is that the house appraises for what you're paying for, but if it doesn't, and this is the max guarantee, this is what you could be bringing. So they are very well aware and very prepared that they may be bringing 5, 10, 15, whatever that guarantee amount is over asking. So, and is the house worth it to you? And is this, what you really want to do? So we try to be very upfront with the numbers so they have a clear indication, worst case scenario at the time they're making these offers. That way, when it's accepted, there's no surprises. So that's part of it. And, I still think that sometimes, I know obviously sellers are out there trying to get the most bang for their buck and as much money as they can. I get that. But there are still some sellers out there that would prefer to, maybe sell their home to a new couple starting out and maybe not an investor, and I tell people, if this is really the home you see you and your family growing old in, write a letter and include it. Ask the realtor to include that letter, why this home is important to you and what you think, you could bring to this home and how this home is going to affect your family. And I just recently had one accepted. They were not the highest offer. They were actually I think it was 4th, but their offer was accepted because their family that read the letter was touched about how they were going to take care of the home and how much they appreciated the home was already taken care of. So sometimes you just have to do those little things to set yourself apart.
Well, that's a wonderful story on how an offer gets accepted. And there are all kinds of little things that hopefully people can do. And that's a real great success story. John Kolb, you and I had a situation this week and I want you to share with everybody just what happened on that property appraisal that we rebutted, and we kind of got a little bit of relief on it, didn't we?
Yeah, the people have to expect that these appraisals are going to be coming in a little bit low, especially when you're doing these guarantees. These guarantees, like Lisa said, I think we do a really good job of making sure our clients understand what the guarantees mean. But at the end of the day, when it actually happens, that's when they seem a little bit more surprised, and you have to explain it all over again. But in our instance, we had an appraisal that came in $38,000 light from the purchase price. If there was a $15,000 appraisal guarantee, we worked together as a team with both the listing agent and the buyer's agent, got some additional comps, sent them back to the appraisal management company and rebutted the appraisal and did our homework the right way, and got the appraisal bumped up, $20,000. So that the shortfall was only $18,000 light on the purchase price. The $15,000 made up a majority of that. So all in all, the seller got what they were asking for, less $3,000. So it's a win-win for everybody, in my opinion. And that's when yesterday we had to go back to the buyer and say, hey, buyer, here's your new numbers. Your $15,000 kicked in, and here's what your new, what you have to bring to closing now. And it's not dollar for dollar that they have to bring the $15,000. I think it ended up being about $11,000 more that they had to bring than they initially did. But you got to be prepared for that. And if you're not, then don't put the offer in.
Yeah, John, that's a great point. The fact that you got to know going in that you're gonna, and I use the term overpay, but sometimes you have to overpay for what you want. The success story was that everybody involved got the right comparables. We submitted to our appraiser reviewer. They took a look at it. They concurred. They sent it back to the appraiser. The appraiser agreed with it, used the comps, and it got bumped up $20,000. Now, there was still an $18,000 shortfall, but at least we got it bumped up $20,000. We're joined also by Becky Alley. Hi, Becky. How are you?
Hey, fresh back from the bank. People stealing my stuff.
We talk about it all the time. Identity theft's going on. Not the topic today, but it does happen to us too, because we're people too, right, Becky? Mortgage people are people too.
Yeah, it's a huge inconvenience, but I was fortunate to catch it very quickly and had to get all new accounts opened up. But here I am, made it.
So, Becky, we're talking about the irrational, exuberant sales prices going on, and that how and who doesn't know this firsthand, but you, Becky. But for you, property appraisal values have not caught up to exuberant sales prices. You and I have had a couple, 3, 4, maybe in the last week that we've had to rebut and go, Eric, some. I don't know that they're going that well for you like they did maybe for others. I think that bottom line is that we submitted our appraisals, the comps to the appraiser. Sometimes they like them, sometimes they don't. But Becky, the question to you is, how are you preparing your buyers for that process?
I'm fortunate enough to work with a lot of really rock star agents. I know Kyle Lang's one of them, where they do a lot of that preparing up front, like I'm sure you guys spoke about. You can't be a buyer and go into this market blindly, because the reason why these appraisal guarantees are such a factor is because anyone that has any kind of experience is fully aware that it's going to be a 50-50 shot if this appraisal is going to come in right now, because people are shooting for the moon as far as just to stand out, right? They're getting a little bit crazy. Unfortunately, as Harry mentioned, I've had a couple purchases that have fell shy on these purchase prices that they've submitted. And we did have one success story on getting it reversed. The other ones were, you know, hairline margins of a difference, and the buyers were aware of it. And we had those conversations up front. And to be honest with you, in this case, when I spoke to the buyer on when one of them came in a little bit low, she was like, you know what? I talked to my agent. He already fully explained this to me, even in addition to what I had mentioned to her. So they were totally comfortable with bringing that difference. They were prepared for it. And that is the best thing that you can do for yourself in this market, and not get yourself in a position where you're going to be, you're going to miss out, or you're going to put yourself in a financial position where you now have that extra $10,000 that was going to go to renovations. You're now stuck bringing that to the table because the appraisal came in short and you weren't prepared.
Yeah. Hey, Kyle Lang, I'm going to say this to you right now, and I'm surprised this statistic isn't a little bit higher, and I want to know what your thoughts are. Right now, in the last 2 weeks, I've taken a little statistical analysis, say that fast 20 times. The analysis goes something like this, is that in the last 2 weeks and all the purchase transactions that we've taken where the appraisals have come in, almost half of them aren't coming in at the purchase price. Now, that's a win. I expect that number to go up. What do you think?
I mean, I think the appraisers are doing as best they can to keep up. And I think too, all your offers that are getting accepted are usually really well qualified buyers. So they're always usually putting a pretty, good amount of money down. So I'll say from my perspective, I've probably only had 2 or 3 in the last couple months that have come back, light or too light to where they didn't match the appraisal guarantee that we had already offered.
Okay. That's good. Matching the appraisal guarantee, John, is a little different, but and that's good. Everybody needs to be aware of that, John.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I think that Kyle's theory is correct, right? If it's within that delta, that what it appraised for versus what it purchase price, and that it's encompassed in that appraisal guarantee, then that's a win for buyers agents, listing agents. We don't have to renegotiate. But Harry, you're right. The appraisals are coming back more and more. I mean, I've had my last 4 purchases have come back low, and thankfully, only one of the 4 was outside that appraisal guarantee delta, and the other 3 were within it, so that we didn't have to do anything other than say, "Hey, here we go." So what's up, Beck?
All right. So what I wanted to know was, I feel also that with the appraisers, so obviously they're people too. And I want to kind of kick this one to Harry, because I know this is a little forte. Right. But, are we thinking that these appraisers are starting to get a little bit more conservative because they know these purchase prices are being, overshot, people are throwing money at these homes. So are they, I'm not saying they're looking to bring them in low, obviously, but are they erring on the side of caution, on that kind of, with that kind of mentality, knowing that people are overpaying for these homes right now?
I think that's a great question, Becky, and I think it's a valid question. But in the appraisers that I know, and taking a look at them, and again, the statistical analysis that we've done, and again, I always seek wise counsel too. I happen to, part of my position is I happen to like analyzing an appraisal. I know I'm stupid. That's my source of entertainment. I drive neighborhoods. I look at houses, at night. I look at them on the weekends. I go around and I really try to educate myself on what's going on in the market from a street level perspective. I will tell you this, that I don't think an appraiser doesn't have a dog in the fight. An appraiser, in my opinion, is going off the information that they're getting from the MLS. They're looking at comparable homes in the same subject area as our subject properties in, and then they're moving out from there. So anything most like our subject property, closest to our subject in proximity, and then they start there, and then they work out, and then they make their adjustments from there. Location adjustments, square footage, size of lot, all those upgrades, all those things. I don't really think that, again, we do know that appraisals are subjective, but I don't really think that they're getting more conservative or less conservative. I just think that the numbers aren't there. They haven't caught up yet. And due to the sheer volume of purchase transactions going on, and I'll let Lisa come on next, the sheer volume of purchase transactions going on right now, they haven't caught up yet. Okay, the data hasn't caught up yet. Lisa, do you agree with me or disagree with me?
Yeah, I think part of it is the catch up. We're always, what do we say, at least 3 months, sometimes 6 months, because by the time those things get recorded, public record, and everyone takes it into consideration, there's always that lag. But it's funny we're talking about this because I literally just emailed you guys. As I'm sitting here, I have a purchase agreement with an appraisal guarantee to pay up to $41,000 over appraised value.
Yeah.
Over appraised value.
It's insane. That's why this is such an important topic right now, because while we've been preaching this, Lisa, since the beginning of January, and we saw this coming, really right now, in the last 2 to 3 weeks, we're seeing the appraisals come in, and we're seeing the irrational, exuberant prices that are going on in Kyle Lang's purchase market, that it's just they haven't caught up. This is what's going on right now. Kyle, I think that this summer is going to be another record summer. What do I mean by record summer? I think the sales prices are going to continue to go up. The natural appreciation, it's not natural anymore. This is market-driven appreciation. This isn't just a natural 2, 3, 4% appreciation. I'm seeing areas, and we do a lot of business in other states. In Florida, for example, Lisa, Becky, John, Kyle, I'm seeing houses that you could have purchased for $250,000, $300,000, now selling for $550,000. The same house in the same neighborhood, where in January and February, there were 12, 13 houses for sale. Now there's one listing. People are moving from all over the country, cold weather climates to hot weather, because Becky Haley, as we've proven, Becky, we can work from anywhere, right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's no longer a need to come into the office right now. I actually have a client where they're living in Berkeley. They were looking at buying multi-million-dollar homes in Northville, and now they're starting to retract that idea, looking at remodifying or doing a new construction loan on the Berkeley to totally renovate it, and then looking to purchase a second home in Florida because the supply and demand is not as short as it is here in Michigan. They just don't want to deal with the buyer's market right now. So they're really looking at, like I said, renovating the Berkeley home and then, saving up and going to Florida so they have a second property. So we had a good hour conversation about what's going to be the best things for them. And there is a little bit of that hesitation because people are getting a little bit discouraged when they're coming in first offer, doing these escalation clauses, 30 offers, and they're not being selected. And one of the topic points was, how are these first-time home buyers really able to compete with, some of the more established repeat buyers? You also have that investor element out there where, it's just very competitive and there's a lot of cash being thrown around as well.
Yeah. John, in talking to your realtor partners over the last few months, like we've seen it, how do they feel about new listings coming on the market right now? And Kyle, I want to hear your opinion on that, because we talk about this all the time. I'm not seeing that many listings coming on, John.
Yeah, it's we keep talking about this over and over and over again. I hope at some point it sticks. That I think we have to have the reverse contingency so that we do get more listings out there where people aren't willing to close on the sale of their home until they found a new house to buy. And I know that's easier said than done sometimes, but we got to start somewhere. And, Kyle and I talk about this a lot. We've talked a lot about a lot of these topics over and over and over again, making sure that we are staying in front of everything. But, my theory is let's, if you are interested in selling your home, get with a professional agent like Kyle, number one in his area for the first quarter of this year, I believe. And make sure that you're getting it listed the right way, get some consultations going, and get the word out there that your house is out there so that you can start, looking for a new house as well. And maybe that agent that you're dealing with has somebody that on the inside that they can get you a new house that you might in the areas that you want to be in. Who knows? So if you don't start the conversation, you never know. What do you got, Kyle?
That's the thing. So myself, I worked with a lot of first-time home buyers. First starting out, I've been in this for 5 years now. Now a lot of those people that they bought that starter home and they're ready to move. This is the best time for them to move because they're the equity they have. We're going to a cool panic. John closed on his yesterday. He paid 127 for his house in the summer of 2018, and we sold it yesterday for 185. And he didn't do anything to the house in Westland. I mean, it's nuts. So I'm telling those folks, are you going to pay a little bit more for your next house right now? Yes, probably. But the equity you have, if the market were to correct itself, all that equity, it's going to hit Westland. It's going to hit Garden City. It's going to hit Livonia first. It's going to hit those lesser communities first that usually swim around the 150 range. Those ones are going to be affected first versus his Howell house. Even if the market corrects itself, he's not going to lose nearly as much equity in that as he could possibly lose in a house in Westland.
Yeah, no question about that. So we're seeing that right now in our area. Obviously, there's less now. It was a 21-day inventory of new homes on the market. It's a lot less now. The 21 days includes homes that have been on the market for a long time that are a lot less desirable. I can tell you this. I live in a subdivision of 120 homes. There are 2 homes on the market. Two. That's it. So, I mean, you're seeing it out there. Again, here we are on May 5th, 2021, and it doesn't look like the listings, Kyle Lang, are increasing. So what I also want to let all our listeners know are that you got to be careful. It's still happening. All the scams out there, it's topical now because of Becky Alley. Throwing your stuff out on the street right now, Becky Alley.
It's okay. I'll share.
Yeah, but what's going on right now is I'm getting personally too many texts, too many email, wanting my social security number, wanting my cell phone number, a lot of my private information. I don't know how these people find it, but do not send your information to strangers. Strangers are bad. We talk about it all the time. Why do we bring it up again? Because it is happening right now. Correct, Becky?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll just share what happened to me real quick. Woke up in the morning. There's all kinds of PayPal withdrawals. It was like 350. It happened between like 3 a.m. and 9 a.m. Right. So it added up to a substantial amount. And so I logged into my PayPal, didn't see any transactions taking place, but either way, I froze that, called my bank immediately. And they actually said that they got a hold of my account and my routing, and it was actually a direct transfer from one account to the other. So all my accounts were frozen immediately. And so obviously I inquired with the fraud department how something like that could happen. And they said that when you write a check, whether it's to DTE or, it's not like I write a lot of checks anymore, but if someone that you're dealing with on the other end of that check receiving, if they just share that account routing number, and unfortunately, anytime you write a check, it's on there, or really there's nothing to stop them. And, so account was created, and then they just started transferring money back and forth. And, but we caught it quickly, and obviously all that money is going to be returned. But, the only way that you can stop it is if it's some kind of special program where I have to announce any check that I'm going to write. And if they don't have that number, it's not clearing. I mean, so you definitely have to do your due diligence because they are getting creative. And I always say that if these kind of people really put their time into something productive, they probably would solve global warming and world hunger all in one shot, right? So you have to be your own advocate. You got to be careful. And as technology evolves, these criminals are evolving too. And, you always just have to make sure you're aware of what's going on in your accounts, your credit cards, mailers. If it looks legit, it might not be legit. I mean, you just got to really make sure you're looking at everything and you're talking to the people that are reputable, that represent you truly.
Yeah, excellent public service announcement, Becky. I think that helps more people than you could ever know if we continue to share all these experiences. Kyle Lang, I want to thank you for being on our show. I'm going to give you the last word. Give me the last word for the day. What do people have to know when they're continuously going into the market? They're making multiple offer bids. And I know we're preparing everybody, but they've got to be prepared when the property appraisal values have not caught up to the exuberant sales prices.
Yeah, I would say if you're getting ready to write an offer, you have to make it strong. We went over all the different things that go into that. But remember too, I know there's not a lot of inventory out there right now, but if you can, don't rush. Like the right house, you're going to end up where you're supposed to end up. It's going to work out for you in the long run. Just sometimes the toughest part about this is being patient and working through it. But that's really all you can do it sometimes.
Excellent. Excellent. Lisa Lawson.
Yeah, same thing. I mean, the market's crazy, and if you're going to participate, that's awesome, but just have a little bit of patience. It will work out. You're less likely to go in there and get your first offer accepted. You might have to make 3, 4, 5, 8 offers on different homes before you find the right one and the right mix that works.
Excellent. Mr. John Kolb.
Hey, I'm just going to say, check us out on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify for the podcast. We got Kyle coming up this Saturday from 9 to 10 on 97.1 FM. He's going to be joining us on Saturday morning, so that'll be great. So feel free, check us out, give us a call, ask us any questions. Guarantee you can't stump us.
There you go. There's the issue. The challenge has been issued, right? Becky Alley?
Yeah, I mean, just to piggyback on what Kyle and Lisa said, do not act out of desperation in this market. Make sure you're surrounding yourself with a good team of professionals that are going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Those are two different things in this market. You need to be educated. You can't have enough information, and you want to be married to your spouse, not your house. And you want to make sure that you have a little bit of a nest egg in this market, assuming you're going to have a little bit of a light appraisal. So you cannot get enough education. You cannot start the process sooner. We're obviously here as a sounding board, whether you choose to get a mortgage through us or not. I know I speak for all of us when we say that we're always here to help any way, shape, or form we can.
Yeah, once again, everybody, I want to thank Kyle Lang. He's the realtor with the most knowledge out there from ReMax. I want to thank Becky Alley, Capital Mortgage Funding, top 1% of all originators in the nation. Also, she was recognized as a top female loan originator in the United States, a woman with power in the mortgage banking industry. That is phenomenal, Becky. 2, Miss Lisa Lawson, who is the woman of power in our office. We call her the Google of our office because she is a wealth of information, everything she knows about the mortgage industry. And Mr. John Kolb, top 1% of all male originators. I just like to prefer non-binary. Just we are originators. That's what we do. We're good at what we do. I got a laugh out of Kyle Lang. Thank you, Kyle, for that. I appreciate that. And to everybody out there, as you can tell, we're very passionate about what we do. We could be probably a little better at selling mortgages. And when I say that, we're not, because we don't lie to people. All right. I'm not saying all originators lie to people. We won't tell you what you want to hear, but what you need to hear, like Becky said. That's why this show is called the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, because we're going to give you the hardcore answers to your hardcore questions. Capital Mortgage Funding is the proud presenter of the show. We're powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. I want to thank producer director of this show, Roberto Beauchesne. He's in the background, but not really. Thank you, everybody, for May 5th. This has been Harry Glanz. Again, for Kyle Lang, Becky Alley, Lisa Lawson, John Kolb, and Roberto Beauchesne. Thank you, everybody.